Hi, this is Kimberly from the IT department. We decided that we wanted to release a few short videos to the facility building managers to give them an overview of the new J1 calendaring system that we're moving to from Meeting Room Manager. We also want to go over how to create your meetings and your events. And finally, we want to show you the new things that have been put together on the MyTLU portal for the facility building managers. In this first video, some of this is going to be a review for a bunch of the building managers that attended our previous Zoom sessions, but I feel that it would be good to go ahead and go over this again just in case anybody missed anything in the first go around. So when you want to add a meeting or an event, or you want to go view the new calendaring system, you're going to go to j1web.tlu.edu/j1web. Once you do that, you're going to land on this home screen that you see here. And right now, I'm just going to show you what everything on the home screen is. When you go over to the top, you'll see that you have some different buttons that you can use. The first one is bookmarks, and you can use this whenever you're specifically like on a specific building page or even a specific room page. You can bookmark it so that you can go back to it over and over and over again. You really want to use these bookmarks for a page that you're going to be accessing for a long time to come. It's just a quick, easy way to get back to that room without having to go over to the left-hand side. Page pins are very similar, except for these are more so used for pages that you're going to access frequently, but for a shorter period of time. This is really great that you can do your pins here, because when I log into J1Web, I could automatically click this page pin here and go back to whatever I pinned and access it very quickly compared to going to the left-hand side. We have the recent, which is going to track everywhere that you recently went, which is great as well, because if for some reason you have to get up and go do something and you come back and you relog into J1Web, you can always come back to this recently visited and click one of these to go back to where you were. To-dos, from what I've noticed in the system so far, these to-dos are generated if you have a facility manager who wants to be able to approve or deny any meetings or event requests that come in for their building. They'll get a message underneath their to-do that they need to go and complete some kind of action to approve or deny that meeting. If you're a facility manager who does not want to approve the meetings and the events that come into your building, you won't actually see any of these to-dos. Notifications are the system generated messages and announcements that the system sends you. This calendar here is more of a personalized calendar. I think what you're going to see here is specifically the meetings and events that you have added. All right. So when you come into J1Web, you can also click this waffle looking icon, and you're going to want to go down to core, and you'll want to access this facilities button. From here, we're going to scroll left, and we're first going to discuss the browse locations button. So the browse locations is a really great tool if you want to look and see where you can request a meeting or an event on the campus. What this is going to do is it's going to allow you to apply different filters, and then these locations will populate based off of what is available. So in this case, we can always go up here and we can directly type in our selected location. So you'll see I type ASC and you get all these different types of locations that we can search for a space by. You can always enter your selected date and time. If you have a very specific date and time that you need to have your meeting, you can put that in here. And then finally, on the left-hand side, you have a whole lot more filters. You can do a keyword where you can type in something characteristic to the building and search by that. You have availability, and under that, it's very similar to what was up top where you could put in your date and your time. Location, you would have to select TLU main campus again, and then you'll get a drop down for all the different buildings, and you can specifically select the building. Place category and place type. So your places are going to correspond directly to what you think of as a building on campus. So you have this category filter. And then you have type as well, which gives you further information that you can filter the buildings by. Space actually means the rooms that are within the buildings. So here we can select that we want to look for a classroom or general purpose or an office space. Space type gives you a little bit more to filter by if you're looking for something very specific, like an apartment or the chapel or a lounge. Capacity, you can look specifically for rooms that have enough room for the amount of people you're expecting. And then you have these additional features down bottom that you can filter by, such as if you need air conditioning or you need wireless internet. So for now, I'm just going to look at Shapey. I'm going to click apply. And here you'll see that the Shapey building populated, as well as all the rooms that are within the Shapey building. So what you see here is it puts you directly onto today's date. And of course, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. has already passed. Oh, sorry. I apologize for that. Now, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that there's a scroll bar here to where you can go more towards the time that hasn't passed in this case. And you'll start to see what's available for today from, let's see, 6:30 or so and on. If you see these diagonal lines, that means that something is booked in that area, so you can't book in there. The yellow shading indicates that this is the current day we're on. And then when you have the white over here, that's available spaces on a future day. The green cross here indicates that that area and time are bookable. All right, so this, as a reminder, is a great way to be able to go and look and see when stuff's available versus when it's not. Oh, the other thing is you can specifically filter down to one area within that building, and it'll show you the same information, but just more specific to the Dunn Conference Center instead of the entire building. Oh, and the last thing is you can always use these to jump from week to week. All right, so that is it for browse locations. The next thing I want to discuss with you is when you go back to facilities, you can always go to this view places. And what view places is going to do, it's going to give you access to see every detail about that specific building, as well as it's going to bring up a calendar to where you can go and start creating your meetings and your events. So now that we're at view places, you'll see that all of the buildings on the TLU campus are listed here. You can see a few details on the screen specific to each building. You can also click this drop down and it's going to give you a little bit more information. So I'm going to go back here and we're going to click the Alumni Student Center. And you'll see right here, that's where I pinned that page so that I could get back to it easily. If I wanted to unpin it, I could easily click that and it would take it off of the menu that's up here. And then when I pin it, You'll see now that I can get to it easily instead of having to go back through all those steps. So this is what a building page looks like. And all the building pages look very similar. You're going to get an overview of the building. You're going to see the contact name of the facility manager, as well as their address, the 911 address, and the phone number for that person. You're going to see the scheduling block where you're allowed to modify when rooms within the building can be scheduled. And then on this page, you're going to see the main calendar for the Alumni Student Center. In most cases, we do not want to book meetings and events on the main calendar. If we come over here to the left-hand side, you can always go to review place details. And this is good for everybody to just look over briefly if you're a facility manager and make sure that everything that is inputted in here looks correct. But it gives you an option where you can actually add more physical characteristics to define the building, which will make it more efficient for the browse locations search that I showed you earlier. All right. Now I'm going to go to view spaces. And here you can see every space that has been defined for the Alumni Student Center. You'll have a general overview right there on the screen with a few details. And you'll see these statuses. If it's marked as temporarily inactive, then you won't be able to book anything there at all. You can have a building as well, or a room also that is marked active, but you don't want it for scheduling, and so these would be marked as no if that was the case. You'll also see that you can define the type and the category for each room. So I'm going to click ASC conference rooms A and B. And when we click into a specific room, you have the option that you can pin this if you're in this room very often creating meetings and events. But you're going to see that the page is very similar to what we saw for the building page. It's going to have your overview. It's going to have the contact name, whether scheduling is available, and then you're going to pull up the individual calendar for that specific room. So on this calendar, you can see that in the past, there was a 10:30 to 12 p.m. meeting for Residence Life. It's the same color coding again, is if it's shaded, that's unavailable. If it's yellow, that's our current day. And then white is anything in the future. You're gonna have the plus signs as well, where you can see that space is available to book. You can change your view on this from week to agenda, which is gonna give you a listing. You can do day. So by day, you can see what is going on. You can do week, which is what we were on. And then you can always view it by month, which is going to give you a monthly calendar. Okay, so for this video, we're going to walk through how to create a meeting, which is a very, very simple process. As a note, if your meeting or your event is going to need facility services, you do not want to book this as a meeting. You're going to want to go through and book it as an event, which I'll walk you through all that in the next video. So for any meeting or event that does not require facility services, you're going to want to click this button that's got the 3 dots, and then you're going to click Create Meeting. You're going to give it a subject. So I'm just going to take the one that I recently did, and then you're going to give it a description. Oh. Next, you're going to click Save and Continue. And then it's already going to know that you wanted to put it in the ASC conference room A and B. And from there, you're just going to click the selected date and time. In this case, I'm going to do 3/16 at 6:30 since all the other times are already passed. And then I can change the end time to something different. As a note, these are fields that you can type in. So if I wanted to, I could change this to 04/16. I'm gonna leave it at 03. You can also have the ability to type into these. So if I wanted to change it to 10:30, I could just type that in if that's a lot quicker for you. These are in 30-minute increments, but if I go and I change this to 6:45, you're gonna notice over here that it now changed to the 15s and the 45s. So I'm gonna click select. Then after doing that, if you want, you can always go look at the calendar and it's going to show you where it's putting your meeting, just in case you want to be sure you don't get too close to a different meeting. And finally, you're going to want to click create meeting. Once that's done, you can always come back and you can look at the calendar and you'll scroll down and you can see the meeting that I created. In this case, there are not approvals set up for the ASC conference room AB, so the blocked off time is actually going to be in a dark blue color. However, if this was a building or space that required approval, this would be in a light blue color until the building manager came in and approved it. All right, that is all for this video. I will be jumping back on soon to let you know more about